Hey guys, welcome back to the shop for Saturday Night Special, episode 137. All right, this week I had a couple of visitors. Actually, last weekend I had a couple of visitors come by and see me. Some people that were in town, and they dropped off a couple of gifts in the process when they came by. I've also got some viewer mail that has showed up past couple weeks also that I'd like to share with you. So we're gonna put that stuff in this week's episode. And some really nice tools that people have been sending in. So I'd like to share that on video and share it and show you what's come in. I also got a flea market score from last weekend. We'll share that. So I've also finished off the hydraulic cylinder that I showed you last weekend on episode 136. We got that finished up. I finished putting it back together, and I even took it down there to the test stand and I got a video of it testing it. So I thought you guys might like that and appreciate seeing that. So we got that. We'll throw that in there. Got an update on the belt sander. We got it back up and running. So I took a little clip of that showing it running and just talking about what we had to do there. So we'll throw that in there this week. I might have a couple more little tidbits of machining clips taken from work that I can throw in there along the way. You just never know what's going to be in it. So I want to go ahead and give another plug for the current T-Blaster campaign for the Shop Life t-shirts. This is for the Shop Life welder. The image is, again, it's a graphic tee, so the image is going to be on the front of the shirt, no pocket, available up to a 5X. They range from small to 5X. 3 color choices there. Campaign's going to run for another full week, so we still got plenty of time to get one in. Had a lot of guys requesting that image on a t-shirt again, so that's why I put it back out there for the guys that were requesting that. But again, it's a great way to support the shop around here, and that's why we do these t-shirt sales. So everybody that's making your purchase, I really appreciate it. It's very much appreciated around here and helps out a lot. So I got the link to that down in the description box below. If you'd like to check that out, you can just click right on it. It'll take you right over to T-Blaster and give you all the info you need. Very easy to order from. You can pay with PayPal or credit card, whatever, you know. I also wanted to mention that we've got I mentioned last weekend that we've got the hoodies that T-Blaster is now offering for their customers. So we're going to run a campaign here very soon for the hoodies. They got them available in 2 sizes, the zip up and then the pullover style, and the print will be on the front of the hoodie there. That's one of the things that they were promoting, is that print on the front, even over the zipper part. So I think what we'd like to do is use the original, our logo, A-Bomb 79 logo. That was the most popular t-shirt that I have sold, was the A-Bomb 79. So we'll throw that on a hoodie, and whenever we do that, we'll also offer a graphic tee for the A-Bomb 79 logo as well. We'll run those kind of simultaneously there over at T-Blaster. That'd be a couple more weeks down the road, but I'll let you know whenever we get that campaign going, okay? Getting ready for the cold season here, and I'm looking forward to grabbing me a couple of them as well. I thought I'd give you a couple updates of some other stuff that's going on in the shop really quick. This shaft right here, I have talked about that in a previous episode. That goes to a gearbox that drills wells, like water wells. You have an adapter here that screws onto the end of it. You got drill stems that go in there, you know, that hook to it. I've got it down there in the lathe now, and I had talked about it in a previous episode that I had it roughed out and never finished it. It's a spare unit, it's what it is, so we've just been kind of sitting on it. I'd like to go ahead and get that finished, get the machine work done. There's quite a bit to do on it though, so a lot of good content that I can capture and bring to the channel here, different machining operations. We've got a square thread to machine there and an internal square thread on the shaft, so you guys will probably like that. We've got some face grooving to do for a thrust bearing to sit up inside, and some keyways to mill, so it'd be a nice project, and I'm looking forward to sharing that. We've got the next video for the Utiloy repair that I shared last weekend. It'll be following SNS, so be on the lookout for that. Couple updates right here real quick before we go to our viewer mail. This is some viewer mail from last week, and let's see, this one right here was given to me by, it was Kevin Montgomery, and it's a 5C fixture plate. I think it may have been used as a fixturing plate or possibly to hold a forge-off chuck. Not really sure, but I cleaned it up in the evapro rust. Got it nice and clean. You can actually put a little more effort into it, rubbing it with some Scotch-Brite, and get this black color off of it. But it cleaned up real nice. And then we have the multi-fix boring bar holder and the 1.5-inch boring bar that takes the CNMG insert. That was given to me by Philip Hackett. And these cleaned up really nice in the evapro rust. Again, you could polish this down some more if you wanted to with the Scotch-Brite. And the tool holder itself, the boring bar holder. Now, that's what it looked like on the bottom here after I pulled it out of the evapro rust. These sides here, I went ahead and hit it with my Scotch-Brite wheel over there on the grinder and did a really nice job. Cleaned it up very nice. So I had mentioned that the tool height block that bolts on right here, you know, is missing, and I was going to try to find them online. I have tried to source them. I have not heard from anybody yet. I believe I sent an email to Penn Tool Company because they sell these, but I haven't had a response for them. And a couple of guys even mentioned on the channel or on the video, like, hey, why don't you just bake those things? That is an option that I've got in mind, is making these. So that is a very valid point there. I've got the machine shop, we could do that. So if I can't easily source these things and just get a couple used ones or something like that, that may be something that we'll look into. I do need 2 of them because I got one over there that's broken. So we may end up making 2 of these tool height adjusters that bolt on there. But I just wanted to share, we got it all cleaned up and it's looking nice. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our viewer mail for this week. So this group of items here, these were all sent to me by Ken Pearson from Janesville, Wisconsin, and he sent me a nice letter here. And I'd like to share some of this with you to kind of go along with the tools that he had sent. First of all, he said he's been in the business 38 years, and he's just kind of recently started watching my videos a few months back, and he really just kind of got captivated and started watching all of my videos and just really enjoys them. But he's got a job shop he's owned for 38 years, and he is ready to step down. He's ready to retire and let his sons step in and take over the business, which they are doing now. His sons are in college now to get industrial engineering degrees, and they've been by his side their entire life doing machining and making chips. So they're ready to step in and take over his shop. And one of the things that he specifies is they would like to make it an ISO certification shop. So he's ready to retire though, Ken, and so he is passing away some of his tools to the newer generation of machinists. And he said he wanted me to have a couple of these because he really likes the videos and he really likes the type of work that I do. He said he really relates to it because that's what he enjoyed also, is the repair side of the machining, the job shop side of the shop here, you know, fixing and repairing and that kind of stuff, not just manufacturing new parts all the time. So couple things right here that we'll go over, and we'll start with this Brown & Sharpe box. We've got one really nice Brown & Sharpe digit mic, and I have never seen one of these in person before until now, and I'll tell you what he said about it. 0 to 1 digit tool room micrometer. He says these babies have been my daily user for many years, and he even had them calibrated for me. So let's check these out and see what they're all about. On the back, there's the certification done last month on the 16th. So that's cool. And the unique thing about these type of mics is that they read 100 thousandths per revolution instead of your normal, most of your mics that we all use are 25 thousandths per revolution, where this one goes to 100 thousandths. And you can see the digital display right here. And we're going to count up, and it even shows tenth lines on there as well. So there's your 99 and 100. So on the barrel here, that's really neat how this doesn't turn either. It just kind of slides. It's got, looks like a keyway there that keeps it square. So your numbers are going to be just hundreds, you know, 100,000s, 200, 300,000s, and then you just read it on the barrel right here. So it's got a really nice smooth friction thimble there. It doesn't ratchet like the Starrett type. That's one of the things I've always liked about the Brown and Sharpes. So that's a very nice mic right there. Thank you very much, Ken. I really appreciate that. I would like to, let's use that around the shop here, show it on some videos, and kind of get familiar with the feel. All right, we'll move this over. And the other thing that he had noticed in one of my videos, I was going through those old slide charts in my toolbox over there, and one of the ones dealing with the cap head series of bolts had some stuff on it, and it was kind of hard to read. So these are a couple charts that he had that he wanted me to have here. So this one is a standard, you know, imperial sizing. You got your different series of socket head bolts here on the front, and for those that don't know, this is a slider card. So as you move it over, it gives you all of your standard dimensions for the bolts. You know, these are all standardized. Okay, and then this one here is metric. All the same info. You got set screws on the back, by the way. And it's a slider card. So whenever you're doing machining, designing, machining, engineering, that kind of stuff, sometimes you have to reference this kind of information whenever you're making your drawings and you're designing parts. All right, so we're going to get to this guy right here. Most of you probably recognize what this is, and that's a Starrett last word indicator. That's still in great shape, and it still works just fine. It does the this part here that you flip over, changes the direction of the needle. It works. So let me tell you about this. Very, very interesting story behind this. He says, the last word, enough said. These just rock, and I have 3, so I wanted you to have this one. It came from an old timer that retired 3 years ago at the age of 95 years old. He taught me everything I know and then some. I'm sorry to say that he passed away just a couple of months ago, and around here there is a saying, ask Norm. He could do anything, and he was a true genius. Never used a calculator, and for some reason he just never ever made scrap. That's very inspiring right there, Ken, and you know, I just feel very honored to have a tool that belonged to somebody like him. You know, Norm sounds like he was a great guy to know and a very dependable employee. So that's really nice that I got a tool that belonged to him. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And we're going to take special care of that one right there. The last one, this is a turning tool, and I'll tell you what he says about that too. And these I'm not familiar with, but I do have one that another viewer had given me that takes the same insert, but I haven't used it yet. So he calls this Hertel turning, and this one's made in Germany, West Germany. But he said that he is including this holder because it is the same and first holder that he used from the first chips that he cut 38 years ago. Isn't that something? This is a cutting machine in itself. It really likes the heavy cutting, and don't let the negative insert fool you. These inserts cut better than any other insert I have ever turned with. MSE still sells the inserts. So it's a 4-sided insert. You can take it out and flip it around, and you got four cutting edges. Actually, I believe you double that. It looks like you can flip it around, and you got 8 cutting edges on it. So we're gonna have to test these out. You know, this is very similar to my ISCAR LNMX type of insert, and I can tell just from the groove that's molded into that it can really curl a chip over nice. I like the chip grooves there, chip breakers. So Ken, thank you very much for all the tools. I'm going to treasure these, and I'd like to start using these mics out here. Those are just awesome mics. So again, thank you very much, and good luck with your adventures coming up very soon. So one of my visitors that come in Saturday, Blair Tyson, he's from Durham, North Carolina. He was in town for some family affairs that he was having to take care of, and he's been a viewer of the channel since the since I started the channel, and I believe he actually remembers, he had mentioned that he remembers seeing my stuff on Practical Machinist as well. But he wanted to send me a couple tools, and these are based off some things that's gone on in the shop and the videos that he has seen. So we'll pull these out. Now this is all stuff from Japan. Japan-made tools. We'll start with these here. In one of my videos, and I can't remember which one it is, I was using an impact driver that belonged to my dad. And this was the brand, I believe, is Vessel. So in this book right here, the Vessel tools, this is what it looks like. That's the impact driver. All of my tips in it were broken, and I had shown that on video. And so what he decided to do was buy a couple of these replacement tips for that impact driver. So that's what we got right here, is the replacement tips. Very cool. So we've got an extra pack of them as well. We should have plenty of these to last us a while, and that's going to be nice. I'm going to go pull that sucker out of the toolbox and put those in there, and put these with it too, these spares. So that's great, Blair. We've also got a pack of really nice screwdrivers here. These are also, I believe he said these are also made over in Japan, made by Vessel. And one of the interesting things that I'll point out that he schooled me on that I didn't know about was this particular type of screwdriver is made for not a Phillips head screw. It's not a Phillips head, it's another style, and now I can't recall what he had said. But he says, like when you're working on, let's say for example, Honda motorcycles, the screws that look like a Phillips head is called something else, J something. And the Japanese designed these screwdrivers, instead of whenever you're in there turning it, you know, a normal Phillips head, it tries to like twist and torque out of it. These are designed to grab and pull itself in and provide more torque as you're turning. So we'll find out soon enough whenever we get a chance to use them. So it's a full set there, slotted in Phillips in different sizes. They have a nice coating on the end of them there to kind of give it a little bit of extra grip. It almost feels like it's been etched. So some more nice quality tools. So thank you very much, Blair. I really appreciate those, and it was great hanging out with you and visiting with you this weekend. So these are actually a couple of flea market scores from this past weekend. I haven't shown anything like that in a while, so I thought I'd go ahead and share them with you. We got a Starrett micrometer here, and then this is a Lufkin ball anvil mic right here, 1/2-inch ball anvil mic. And for those that don't know, you see the anvil there is round, it's like a radius, the ball. And what those are great for is, I'll give you an example. There's a old cast iron sleeve right here. If you wanted to measure a wall thickness of something like this, you can use this type of mic in this type of manner right here. Since you got a ball on the inside, you can measure the true thickness of that. So that's what these mics are excellent for. They do have some other uses, but this is a real common use for those. So the other mic here is a nice old Starrett thread pitch mic. This one, let's see, it's a 575C, and it works great. This was a little bit stiff. The barrel was a little bit stiff on it, so I was able to negotiate it down. He was asking 30 bucks for it, and I got both of these for $40. But I brought it home and unscrewed this, and the collet nut on it, I made a slight adjustment on that, just slightly, and it made it loose enough where it's got a nice feel to it now. And it was off a few tenths from zero, so I went ahead and calibrated it. Let's see if it goes back. Yeah, so it's lining back up on zero. In addition to that, this is pretty neat. Underneath the little protected paper right there, we still have the original stuff that come with it. How to read a micrometer caliper from Starrett, original book, and it's got the chart there that tells you how to figure your diameter whenever you're measuring a thread. because that's what this is. This is a thread mic. So very nice stuff right there. Awesome tool for the collection. So I was mentioning I had another visitor over the weekend come in. That was Stephen Dollar and his wife. They were in town vacationing here. They do enjoy coming to the Gulf Coast here around Pensacola. And he had picked up some hardware along the way and brought it to me and wanted me to have it. So just a bunch of different size of the cap head bolts. Just a wide range of different styles and sizes right here. We got some boxes of new ones right here, a bunch of 1032s, a bunch of different ones there, and then another bag full of a assortment of, you know, flathead style and socket head cap screws. So that's nice because I don't really have that many. Looking up here at my little bolt bin, my little rotary bin, this really is about the best selection of cap head bolts that I have. Is just this little section right here. So that's going to be great having all these right here. Hopefully I can make some room in the bin right here and do some organization and put some of these away. So Stephen, it was great to hang out with both of you guys this weekend and enjoyed a nice dinner down there on the water and had some seafood, and looking forward to it again next year when you come back. So I got the seals in today for the hydraulic cylinder for Fernando. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this thing back together. So we'll get a little bit of video footage of the build action right here so you can follow along, and let's get this thing back together. And I am planning on, we're gonna get it put together, and then next week, because it's this Friday, and by the way, I got the door open for the first time this season. It's the first weekend that we're having the first touch of fall. It's getting down in the 60s at night. It got up to a high of like I don't know, 81, 82 today, but it's low humidity down here, which is beautiful to us. So I'm just kind of enjoying the natural sunlight for a change. There'll be a little bit more noise than normal because of the cars. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started on the cylinder here. All right, one thing that I had failed to mention in the last video when we tore it down is glands. You should usually check it for your for rod wear, or wear here where the rod goes through, and you can always see where the rod has been sliding through there. So I was checking it with these calipers here, and I'm getting 5 to 6 thousandths, which that's pretty good. Okay, that's not bad at all. Typically what you want your clearance here to be about 4 thousandths. And whenever we do our repairs for our cylinders, and when you're replacing new parts, you'd really like it to be 4 thousandths or less. But this will be fine, because all we had was just a seal problem. So we got our seals. That's going to be our 574 backup. Whenever you buy these, they come in a package of 10, so you got to get a whole pack of them. These should be our O-rings right here, our 3 different size O-rings. This is our new piston seal right here, our PS 1400, and that's our wiper, HW 2000 wiper. And we got one more. Here it is. This is our rod seal right here. So this is a P seal, an 850 series P seal. So there it is. There's the brand new seal. Okay. Now, the other thing I was going to point out, I'm wearing these gloves right here, and I like to wear the gloves whenever I'm messing with something really nasty, oily, greasy, that kind of stuff. But the truth is that kind of stuff, you're really not supposed to get that kind of stuff on your hands. You know, hydraulic oil, grease, any kind of solvents and cleaners. We all do it. We all work in the shop and get our hands dirty, but I've gotten to where whenever I mess with oil and grease, I just like to put these gloves on. And I know later in life I'll appreciate the fact that I did that anyway. So, all right, I'm gonna put my glasses on, bench safety here, and we'll go ahead and we'll start with our seal. And what I like to do is I like to put a little bit of grease on the seals. It makes them a little bit easier to install. It gives it a little bit of a slick surface to slide on whenever you go down in there with it. right. And they do make little special tools you can buy to help install these, but I don't ever do it because I do that right there. See, it just popped right in there. You can see the lip sticking up. All right, easy enough. Same thing with our wiper. Really doesn't have to be greased, but I'm going to put just a little bit on there. Just a little bit, doesn't take much. See that? Easy, just as easy as that. All right, now we're going to have to go ahead and put our O-rings on. Same thing. It's just always nice to put a little bit of grease whenever this stuff goes together. It makes everything slide a whole lot easier. Alright, remember that's our O-ring to help seal the gland for moisture to getting down in these threads. Alright, next thing we need to put on is our wiper. So we're going to cut that open with a screwdriver, because I didn't have my scale around. Alright, so there's our 574 wiper I mentioned before. These are made with a radius on one side that allows the O-ring to seat against it nice and provides a 3,000 pound seal there. Put a little bit of grease on it and put the backup on there first. Just use something to get it down in there flat. And we got the radius pointing that direction. Grease up the O-ring just a little bit. Bam. Alright, that gland is ready to install. I'll probably put a little bit of grease or never sees or something on the threads just to help lubricate them as they screw together. We'll put some grease on the O-ring when we go to put it together too. Alright, let's go ahead and get to the rod and piston. Alright, so the next phase actually is to go ahead and install the gland. We'll get this on there and then we'll install the piston. So I'll put a little bit more grease in it. Grease the O-rings. I don't have any never sees. I don't know what happened to it. I think I ran out, so I just put some grease on the threads and that'll help lubricate those as they go together. So it's important on these, when you make rods like this, you got a nice bevel down here on the end so that you can start your seals. In this case, we're just got to get the wiper started and pushed on there. Just push it back. Remember, that was a loaded seal. It's got that rubber expander inside, so those are a little bit tighter than some of your normal U seals. So now we got that on, we'll push it on back and then we'll get the piston on. So we'll start with our O-ring. Remember, that seals the piston, seals the oil from coming underneath the piston and through the threads. That's what the little counter bore on the piston's for fit the O-ring, and it should be machined so that you've got a little squeeze there. There it goes. And it's got a little bit of squeeze. Going on with our lock nut. All right, should be tight enough. All right, next thing is our piston seal. So you put the O-ring on first. It acts as an expander underneath the seal. All right. Now, there's different tricks that you can do with these right here. Typically, we just put them on. You can heat them up. You can warm them up. Either way you're looking at it, you gotta expand it to get it on there. But this is what I was talking about, that I don't like this style because they're a little difficult to get on there. So it's going to take me a second. I'm trying not to use any tools if I can help it, except for my fingers. Ain't working too good though, is it? There we go. All right. Now, see, that went on there. Sometimes you get lucky and they just pop on. See how it expanded it just a little bit? That one's not too bad. Sometimes they're a little worse than that. But what we're going to do, I've got a tool that we're going to use. That's this piston ring compressor right here. And what I want to do is put it on there and let it sit for a little while and help draw this back in. I've got a little tool here. There we go. You just stick this little key stock in that square and you turn it and it tightens the bands up. So we're going to give this a shot. I'm going to put it right up underneath that band and tighten her up. Okay, so that's got it collapsed, and that's just closes. That's the smallest I can get that thing. So I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna let this sit on there, I don't know, maybe a half hour or so, and then we'll come back and we'll go ahead and install this rod. All right, that's been on there cooking for a little while, so let's go ahead and take it off and see what she looks like. All right, I think that'll work just fine right there. Looks like it helped close it up. It's not wiggling around. Perfect. Give it everything a little wipe down and put some grease, and we'll go ahead and flip all this around and slide her up in there. All right, so we got the piston greased, that and the seal. We got everything ready to go. And by the way, the cylinder tube looks really nice inside. I see no scoring or anything like that. I don't have any hones here, so I didn't worry about honing it out. If there was any scratches or scoring in there, I would have taken it to work and we would have honed it there. But this is a good clean cylinder, good bore. There's a nice bevel machined inside this tube, a nice taper. Whenever you machine something like that, whenever you do your counter bore for your threads, once you get to your finished diameter, what I like to do, I like to have my compound set on 20 degrees. That way, whenever I make my finished pass for your threads, I go ahead and I use the compound and I machine a 20-degree angle in there. And that's a nice angle, 20-25 degrees for your seals and that kind of stuff to start up in there. All right, so we'll go ahead and put our face spanner on and get it screwed in there. All Alright, now it's pulling up on that O-ring inside the tube, getting a little tighter. There it is. I am going to give that a little bump. Let me see. Got my lead hammer here, and I'm just going to give it some bumps to help lock it on. There we go. Okay. The cylinder is ready to go. So that's going to be it for now. We'll go ahead and load her up, take her to the test unit, see this thing operate. Alrighty, we got the cylinder hooked up to the test unit here. Come over here and turn her on. Let's see. Just cycle it a couple times. Make sure the air is out of it. We don't have it up pressure yet, just about 500. So. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so that's 15. Oh. I don't see any leak in there. Alright, we're going to go to 3,000 PSI. Alright, so if the gland was leaking, it should be blowing out that seal now. Alright, so I tested it at 3,000 and everything looks good. We got no leaking around the gland here, no leaking around the back of the welds or anything like that. So what I'm doing here is a bypass test, checking the piston to make sure that the piston is sealing properly in here. And what I did was I disconnected the hose from the retract side right here, and we've got it hooked up to the extend side, applying pressure to the back of the piston. So if it was bypassing, it would displace the oil to the back and it would shove the rod out. So I've got a line on there and it hasn't moved. So we're good on our bypass test there. So we are good to go on this. I'm going to go ahead and hook that hose back up and extend it out, and then I'll push it back in with air to remove the oil out of the system. Alright, so we got a little air fitting hooked up here, a little quick release deal with the air hose, and I'm going to open this ball valve. and push that rod back in there, and that way it pushes the oil back into the tank, and then whatever residual oil is left just kind of goes down in our catch pan here. All right, so we got the cylinders now pressurized, so we've got the ball valve closed, and I'll disconnect the air line and just crack this one. That releases the pressure. All right. All right, there we go. Tested good, and it's ready to go. All right, here's your quick update on the belt sander. I got the motor back, and I just installed it. I just reinstalled it down there, and I did that by laying the belt sander down on its back and just let gravity help me out. Set the motor in there, bolted it in place. Luckily, they had holes drilled in the feet of the motor so that it lined up in the right slot, and it kind of naturally squared itself up pretty good. Got the belt guard off here. You can see the motor down there. It looks like it's aligned well, and we've got some good tension on it. I actually just stood it up with the bolts loose and let the motor, the gravity, pull the motor down, and then just kind of put my hand on it lightly as I tighten the bolts up, and that's the tension that we got there. So it fires up just like it's supposed to now. What it was doing was just, I'd hit that start switch and it wanted to kind of hum and try to start, and then it would kick the breaker out. So definitely there was a problem there, but I think we got it fixed now. It was the contact points, the starter points in the motor had to be replaced. I think we're back in business. Okay. Just got to bolt the belt guard back on it and get it back over here in place, and we'll start using that sucker.